Increased cases of traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder among military veterans have become one of the legacies of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Studies have shown TBI and PTSD to be a leading cause of the increasingly high number of veteran suicides, which is up to 22 a day. As Will Healy reports, while there's no proven treatment to cure TBI and PTSD, a new law has state officials looking into alternative treatments, including a controversial one, hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
According to the latest census from the Department of Veterans Affairs, Indiana has 490,000 veterans ranging from the Vietnam War to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. From that number, it is estimated that some 70,000 veterans in Indiana could have a traumatic brain injury or suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Katie Patterson is one of that 70,000.
I served from 2004 to 2006. I was in the United States Army. I suffered 2 head injuries while on active duty, among other injuries.
Patterson suffered secondary blast injuries, and even though she wasn't close to the blast site, she felt the impact.
It was recorded in my military paperwork that I had short-term memory deficits and headaches and other things like that.
Patterson was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury. When she returned home, she had a hard time juggling college, a full-time job, and a household. To make matters worse, she suffered another head injury in a skateboarding accident after she was out of the service. It left her paralyzed, and her struggles, most apparent in school, intensified.
I would study for 10 hours for one test and still fail the test. Like, I was not retaining anything that I was learning, and that was becoming really frustrating because I knew what kind of student I was, and so to see like this drastic decrease in my grade point average made me sick.
Patterson went to the VA for help.
The VA had me on 15 different medicines combined for my PTSD, my depression, my anxiety, my sleeplessness, my everything. And I one day actually got on a website and I was like, I wonder what all these medicines do. So I Googled, like on this WebMD's type site or something, and the medicines that they had me on combined would have killed me if I would have taken them.
Patterson started researching other therapies. She came across hyperbaric oxygen therapy, a treatment which uses oxygen pressurized about 15 times what we normally breathe and causes more oxygen-rich blood to flow to organs and tissues in the body. It's been FDA approved for several ailments, including decompression sickness, crush injuries, and burns, but not PTSD.
I asked the VA hospital, I said, I've done a lot of research. There's this hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment. Can I get it? It's shown great results, and I remember my physician saying that hyperbaric oxygen therapy is bogus medicine and that it would kill me, and I disagreed.
Patterson found a facility near Boulder, Colorado that offered the treatment free to veterans and even provided them with housing during their treatment. In the summer of 2013, Patterson went to the institute. She did 40 to 50 pressurized dives. But while there are more than 30 facilities in Indiana that offer hyperbaric oxygen therapy, the VA doesn't cover it, and the treatment isn't cheap. Since there is no known cure for PTSD, the VA continues to prescribe medications to treat the symptoms. Governor Pence signed a bill earlier this year that created a panel to investigate various PTSD therapies and whether the state should fund them. The panel heard from several presenters beginning in June, including James Bowerly. He represents the Military Veterans Coalition of Indiana and is a strong proponent of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. He says the controversy is due to flawed studies.
So what the VA Army people did is that they used regular air. Pure oxygen versus regular air. Well, that's flawed. And the reason that's flawed is air that we're normally breathing is 21% oxygen.
The Brain Injury Association of America has been keeping up on the latest research surrounding hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Its national medical director, Dr. Brent Maisel, says more research is the only way to find out what the true benefits of the therapy are for brain injuries.
I think we are at the same place that Alexander Fleming was in 1928 when he said, I've got this stuff and I'm going to call it penicillin, and I think it helps with infections, but I don't know what infections it helps. I don't know how long to give penicillin, nor do I have any idea how much penicillin to give.
But while he has to base his official medical opinion on the research that's available, Mazel's personal feelings are perhaps telling.
I told my wife, I said, if something happens to me, if I have a stroke or a bad brain injury, as soon as I am stable, you get me into hyperbaric chamber. Because I think on the acute side of things, it can make a difference.
Back in Indiana, Katie Patterson is a full-time student at Indiana State University, working toward her bachelor's degree in recreational therapy. She's completed 3 semesters since her treatment and earned all A's and 2 B's. While she acknowledges that she still has problems from time to time, she marvels at how far she's come.
I think that once you've suffered a brain injury, you become a lot more critical of yourself. Like, I am one to be like, I got a B in a class, I should have had an A, you know, and because I have something to prove to the world. I have overcome having 3 traumatic brain injuries, and look at me.
Reporter Will Healy joins us now with more on this story. Now, as you mentioned in that story, the new law created a panel to evaluate those therapies to see if the state should fund them or not. And I believe the deadline was September 1st. Has anything happened?
No. The official word from the VA and the Department of Health is that they're still working on it. I did speak with General Bowerly, who we saw in the story, and he shared with me an email exchange that he received from Art Logsden, who is an assistant commissioner for the Department of Health, and he's on the panel. And he said that they actually have hired a neuroscience institute to help them parse through the information and vet it for validity. So they're still working on it.
Any idea of when that report might come out?
From that same email exchange, Art Logsden said that he hopes for it to come out by October 1st, but as we know, they're already in violation of the law, so it could be sooner, it could be later.
Why is it important for the state to investigate these alternative therapies?
Well, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is expensive, and right now a veteran suffering with PTSD or traumatic brain injury has to pay out of pocket entirely for that or rely on donations from veterans groups. You know, the cost includes travel, it includes time off from work, and as we saw in the video, it costs between $13,000 and $16,000. So, you know, veterans feel that you know, if this treatment works, the state and the federal government should pay for it.
So now, but though that's cheaper than the current treatments that the VA is using now.
Right. The VA currently prescribes medications to treat the symptoms, and studies have shown that can cost upwards of $40,000 a year per veteran. So the cost difference is significant.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Good report.
Thank you.